got 6 games to go, right? And it'll feel like 6 lifetimes. I mean, it's just the National Football League, and the ebbs and flows. I mean, you call about a couple plays in the last 2 games, and we knew coming off from the bye week, everything we talked about, just some of the things logistically we want to do as a staff. We certainly did that. Ways we wanted to play, getting some guys in space, I thought helped us, and then rolling through personnel defensively, keeping guys fresh. I think you saw a little bit of that. So we got plenty of stuff to work on as always, but overall, good team won.
Welcome back, Falcons fans. Your boy Bryce was back at it again for another Atlanta Falcons game recap, as we discuss a big win for the Atlanta Falcons today as they beat their hated rival New Orleans Saints in Atlanta to take first place in the NFC South. And now the Falcons have control of their own destiny as they move forward and try to make a playoff push, which a lot of people have a lot of things to say, obviously with the quarterback position and everything under the sun, Arthur Smith, et cetera, et cetera. But overall, a lot of Falcons fans are happy right now with this win over the New Orleans Saints. We're going to break it all down in this recap video. Before we get to that, don't forget to subscribe for the channel for all your Falcons and Hawks content. I'm trying to be number 1 in that regard, trying to get more Falcons content out more if I can, with my Hawks content that I get out weekly and just everything on top of that. So appreciate any of you guys coming and listening to the show and just, sticking with me through it all. But let's go ahead and dive into it. The Falcons winning this game, a game that they needed to win, a game that was needed to be won after being on a 3-game losing streak, 24-15 over the Saints, in a game where the defense came to play, reminded us of the defense that we knew from earlier in the season. No offensive touchdowns allowed in this game. The Falcons defense came out to play. Jesse Bates continues to show why he was worth the contract, shows why he is one of the best safeties in the NFL today. Big pick 6 when the Saints could have potentially went up 10-0. Then coming back also right before the 4th quarter when the Saints just picked off Desmond Ridder, driving the football and getting another turnover on Taysom Hill to help them win, which then the Falcons came back, and then Desmond Ridder finished that drive off with a great touch pass to Bijan Robinson, who was also featured a lot in this game. Bijan Robinson was affecting the game passing and running. Arthur Smith said Bijan will be used. We saw the reports, and they have been confirmed on the field, as Bijan Robinson has been used a bunch in this offense. And then also the running game getting back on track. The running game has been better in the last few games, but to finish a game with the running game, which is a strength or was expected to be a strength of this team, was big to see it actually come to fruition, closing out the Saints in this game, just running the football. All 3 running backs, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, and Cordell Patterson, made an impact in this game, and shows you why it's very effective. You have 3 running backs who are very capable. Use all 3. All 3 can bring different elements and levels to the game and also help keep each other fresh. And I think this was probably one of the best games that I think we've seen them use these 3 running backs in this game. They ran the ball 41 times in this game, which was obviously a commitment to the running game that they needed to make. And also the Saints obviously could not stop it. They could not defend it, and they were able to just get gashed by the Saints. They just pounded the rock on the Saints multiple times, especially on that last drive, just running the football, and the Saints could not stop the Falcons until they got deep into field goal range, which is when young Wade Koo, one of the most clutch kickers in the game today, comes in and just finishes it all off for the Falcons. So big, like I said, performance across the board from guys like that. Obviously, Desmond Ridder, shaky again today. Questions are still out. People are still saying, Jaden McDaniels, you are a Falcon. But at the end of the day, he did make some bonehead throws. Well, the first turnover was kind of multiple. Play calling again today was very questionable, but I get to that in a second. But that first turnover, Ridder, could have took a little bit off that and threw a more accurate pass. Bijan, I feel like, has been struggling as a receiver, but I also wonder if he just and Desmond are not on the same page from a chemistry perspective when it comes to receiving the ball. And then also there was another receiver in the area, which means the area was congested. You even heard the broadcaster say it in the game. He was like, that play just seemed like a mess to me. And one thing we've been critical of with Arthur Smith has been his play calling, his passing concepts. They've been extremely questionable with some of the things that he's tried to call. And that was another example of that. Like I said, whoever you want to blame, there you blame. But we all can agree Arthur Smith still at times will call certain plays that just don't make sense to you, and you feel like he's holding this entire offense back. But today, they did just enough. They scored 24 points, and like I said, the defense reverted back to where they were able to hold a team. They bend, but they never broke today against the Saints. Saints had to settle for 5 field goals in this game, which was a big part of why the Falcons were able to win this game today. So, like I said, big for them. Desmond Ridder, like I said, had the second interception. That was on him. He should have threw it back shoulder. He threw it inside. And then, Jefferson also could have made a better effort on that ball. Didn't. So that was tough. But, and honestly, that was a turnover that maybe probably had a lot of people thinking, oh, it's about to be turned into that kind of game. But luckily, like I said, Jesse Bates was able to get that turnover after that possession to help keep them from getting any points on that possession. And then the Falcons were able to respond with Desmond Ridder, like I said, fighting Bijan Robinson, beating Demario Davis deep with a great pass touch and get a touchdown there. So, and, they always say about Desmond, they say Desmond does some good things sometimes that just makes you sit there and be like, if you just did this more and did the bad things less, it feels like you'd be fine. But you don't. And so I think the big jury is, so are you just a quarterback who's going to be bad and good? Or are you a quarterback who can be good? You just got to, I guess, eventually learn to not do the bad. And I think that's how some people feel about it a little bit. One good thing I also saw today was that he used his legs a little bit more. Desmond is a guy, remember, he came out of college, came out of Cincinnati running a 4.5. The guy can run. The guy has some wheels on him. So it was always surprising how it felt like he would run on the Zion runs, and every now and then he would scramble, but I felt like he could have used it more. You can run, Desmond. If there's pressure and you have a lane, take it. You can outrun guys. There was that one play, I believe, that might have been the drive he actually had a turnover on, but they sent a blitz, and they almost got to him, but he ran out the pocket and beat all of them for the first down. He had 3 Saints on him, and he beat all of them for the first down. And those are examples of things that's like, all right, well, if Desmond seems like he has a better feel, uses his leg more, and can just, like I said, limit the mistakes, it feels like we should be fine overall, but we'll have to see him. Also, shout out to the offensive line. No sacks given up today, so that was big. Offensive line had probably one of their best games this season, running and pass blocking. So that was obviously really big to see those guys. Like I said, right before the bye week, they seemed to be struggling. Quarterback, Heineke was under a lot of pressure. And they were struggling, and then offensive line has been up and down this year. You've seen some clean performances, and you've seen some very bad performances, and today was a good performance. Also, Parker Hesse coming back today was big. He's always been a big component of the run game for this team, a guy that you don't think about because he's not a tight end who does much in the receiving game. He is a run blocking tight end, but his run blocking is so great. It really opened up holes today with this offensive line to help the running game be what it was. He's just great at what he does. He's great at what he's assigned to do. He's an underrated, undervalued player in that regard, but you saw today, even, people were tweeting about it, like Hesse's made an impact in the running game just with his run blocking. He's almost like another tackle out there who plays tight end, who can block just as well as a regular offensive lineman when it comes to run blocking. And it was big for the Falcons today, like I said, to get that running game established, finish a game with the running game, something that they have been known to be able to do in previous years under Arthur Smith. Haven't really done it a lot this year, but doing it in this game, in this big of a magnitude of a game for first place in the NFC South against your division rivals, on a day where the Atlanta Falcons as a whole had all the old school rappers, all the legends in the rap game celebrating the anniversary of hip hop back in Atlanta. It just kind of shows the grit, the grind of this team. And it was just good because, these types of games, you always wonder, you got all these people back. This is going to end up being an L. Because I always feel weird about games where people are honoring people sometimes. Like I'm talking about like big news honoring, because I always wonder like, oh, those are the games the teams seem to play their best. I don't know if that was maybe the case with the Falcons. They definitely could have, chucked this game away, but overall they played really, really well. Like I said, Bijan 16 for 91, 1 touchdown. Tyler Algier 10 for 64. Cordell Patterson 8 for 43. All of them averaging over 5 yards a carry. That shows you how effective each guy was with the ball in their hands. Drake London had a good game today. 5 catches, 91 yards. Bijan 3 catches in the receiving game, 32 yards in that touchdown. Pitts only had 2 today. Van Jefferson only had 1. Clearly this passing game is not going to be a highly efficient. You're going to have 30 completions, and so guys are going to have 10 plus. But at the end of the day, as long as you throw the ball and can be effective when you throw it, make plays when they're there, I think everything can be all right for this team overall. And like I said, just good stuff all around. Like I said, Jesse Bates obviously is the MVP of this game. Just kind of took over this game like he did against Carolina. Just was huge in that game, and he's huge here. So, that was really big for this team to continue to just continue to grind it out. And now they go on to play the Jets next week. A struggling Jets team with Tim Boyle as their starting quarterback. If you watched the Miami game, you saw how terrible he is. Now, I know with the Falcons, it's hard to get confident because you think, oh, well, we played quarterbacks who weren't supposed to be the greatest either, and then we struggled. Well, if you think about the three quarterbacks, Josh Jacobs can play. We just assumed that he didn't know the playbook well enough to be good. He can play. He showed people he can play. Will Levis has talent. I mean, it's just he's a rookie, so you just expect him to be inexperienced and be able to handle that better. But he has talent. He actually can. I think he can play. Who else? I mean, Kyler Murray. I mean, people have their judgments about him, but I think Kyler Murray also has shown he can play in this league. Tim Boyle has shown he cannot play at this league after just like one start. Listen, I would be pissed off if we allowed him to look great next week, but he shouldn't look great next week. Like, he really shouldn't. And so we're gonna have to see if that will come to fruition, because obviously if the Falcons can win next week against the New York Jets, that will get them back to 500, 6-6 on the year. And then also every team in the NFC South lost today. Let's hypothetically say they lose again next week. You can now start creating a lead in the NFC South. Good news for them. Next week, Saints play Detroit. So you would think Detroit would take care of business there, and that, obviously would be a prime win for the Hawks. I mean, why did I say the Hawks? The Falcons. Don't know why that came out. The Falcons next week. Tampa lost today. They're 4-7. They're already behind both teams. They play Carolina next week, so they probably should win that game. But like I said, the Falcons win. They'll still have a 1-game lead. Plus, they have a tiebreaker. And then the next week after that, Falcons play Tampa Bay. So if they win that game, that will probably pretty much eliminate Tampa Bay from the running. They have the tiebreaker officially in that situation. So really some big weeks coming up for the Falcons overall. Really big weeks coming up. They beat the Jets next week. Detroit takes care of business. They pretty much control their own destiny when it comes to getting that home playoff game in the wild card. They just got to win. As simple as that. They just got to win. And I know a lot of people are indifferent about it, because if you don't believe in Desmond Ridder, you don't want Desmond Ridder to be QB1. And if you make the playoffs, you are going to have a lower end first round pick, probably like back end of the first round. Like, you may be in the 18, 19, 20s, 21s, depending on where you finish. So then, I mean, this is a good QB class, so there may be some QBs available there, but are you going to love a QB at that spot and say he can start for us? If you're going to make that change with Desmond. Unless, listen, Desmond can go out there and show people that, he can be the quarterback. I mean, at the end of the day, even though everybody else has made their judgments, the Falcons are still deciding if he's going to be the quarterback next year. If they make the playoffs and Ridder plays well, there's a chance he will be QB1 next year too. But if he flames out, and let's just say he flames out, but the Falcons still win, I'm sure they'll recognize that. And even if he flames out and they lose, they'll obviously recognize that. So I know people have their dreams of who they would like the Falcons to go after in the quarterbacks. Some still talk about potentially trading for a guy, maybe like Justin Fields. But, that's also where we are right now with this situation. I know people are not particularly also happy about it because they're like, oh, we're going to play the Dallas Cowboys and get creamed. Listen, that's very much possible. But listen, we've seen crazier things happen before. So, we don't know what's going to happen. But that's still another month or so away. So right now, the Falcons are just trying to finish out the season strong. Like I said, have a great opportunity to get back to 500 next week against the Jets, which would be big for them, and just in terms of winning the division. Because like I said, last year, the Falcons only won 2 games in division. This year, they're 3-0. You have a great opportunity to potentially sweep the NFC South this year. You play Tampa Bay in a couple weeks in Atlanta. You play Carolina. You'll be in Carolina, but they still have not seemed like they're any better than they were. I mean, the Saints, you're gonna play the Saints in there. That would be probably the game, if you lost the divisional game, that may be the game right there. Maybe. I don't know. But if you win in these next couple of games, the Falcons are putting themselves in the driver's seats to make that playoff, get that division win, and get the home playoff berth and the wild card of the playoffs. So we're gonna have to see what happens, man. But like I said, good win for the Falcons today, man. 24-15 over the Saints, their division rivals, just, you know, to get themselves back on track. We'll see what comes. What do you guys think about the Falcons after today's game? Are you happy? Are you upset? What do you want to see moving forward? Go ahead, leave that down in the comment section below. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe to the video, man. Show support for your boy. And like I said, I appreciate all you guys for listening to me talk about our Atlanta Falcons. But it's your boy, Bryce Lewis. See you next time.
What's up, y'all? It's Bijan Robinson. Hey, we just came out with the W as a team. Big team win against the Saints. Hey, we just give God glory, give God praise. And that's what we do. And let's keep rolling, let's keep getting it. And hey, rise up, baby.